in the deepest corner of the galaxy, there's a jungle so deadly that no alien species has ever crossed it alive. A living nightmare where the trees hunt you, the shadows breathe, and even the soil beneath your feet is waiting to kill you. For thousands of years, the galaxy accepted one truth. No one survives vorexis 9. But everything changed the day a human crashed there. A lone hunter, unarmed, injured, and completely unaware that had landed in the most feared ecosystem in the universe. And what happened next shook every alien empire to its core, because a jungle that devours entire armies failed to kill a human. And as the beast evolved, the monsters awakened and ancient powers rose from the depths. This one human kept walking forward, unstoppable, unbreakable, unpredictable. This is the story of Aiden Locke, the hunter no alien could stop, the human who made the galaxy's deadliest jungle bow. New Moon watch till the end, because what happens in the final moments will leave you speechless. Fire, like, comment, and subscribe for the next unstoppable human adventure. The jungle was alive, not alive in the way forests on Earth breathed and whispered. This one watched. The planet Xiron 7, known across the Orion Arm as the Green Star Death, was a living maze of carnivorous vines, hyperpredatory beasts, and ancient alien ruins so old that even the oldest species refused to land here. Except one. A single human dropship pierced the poisonous clouds like a burning spear, engines screaming against gravity. Inside it stood Hunter Eric Hale, a scar across his cheek, a plasma rifle strapped to his back, and a quiet fury in his eyes. Final warning, the ship's AI said. No intelligent species has survived more than 7 minutes in this jungle. Eric smirked. Good thing I'm not most species. The dropship blasted open. Eric leapt. Heat punched his armor. Toxic spores swarmed around him. The canopy below twisted as if preparing to swallow him whole. He landed hard, knees bending, palms hitting the mossy ground that pulsed like a living heart. The jungle reacted instantly, hissing, clicking, the sound of hundreds of alien predators focusing on him at once. Yeah, Eric whispered. Come on. Branches snapped. A 12-legged chimera, skin like volcanic stone, eyes glowing neon blue, lunged from the left. Eric rolled, drew his vibroblade and slashed upward. The beast screamed as its armor cracked. Another one attacked from behind. He didn't even look, just fired a blind plasma shot over his shoulder. Direct hit. Predators fell. More came. The jungle wanted him dead. But Eric Hale was human, and humans were built different. He fought like a wildfire, fast, brutal, unpredictable. He didn't follow alien survival rules. He broke them, twisted them, rewrote them in real time. Within minutes, the beast retreated into the shadows. The jungle had underestimated him. Eric wiped blood, his and theirs, from his visor. Then the ground trembled. Great, he muttered. Bigger things. A massive stone obelisk rose from beneath the earth, covered in glowing runes. The temperature dropped. Lightning crackled across the sky. And then, a voice, not spoken, not heard, felt, human, you should not be here. Eric froze, eyes narrowing. He felt the voice inside his skull like ice water. He aimed his rifle at the obelisk. I go wherever I damn well want. The voice laughed, a deep, ancient sound that felt older than galaxies. We know your kind. You burn, you fight, you break everything you touch. And we win. Eric shot back. Silence. Then a low, rumbling roar erupted across the entire jungle. Birds exploded from trees. Ground beasts fled underground. Even the toxic wind stopped. The obelisk pulsed. The hunter of Earth. Your arrival 6,000 years ago was foretold. Eric's grip tightened. Foretold by who? Before the answer came, something gigantic moved in the trees. A shadow. No, a titan. Branches shattered. Trees collapsed. The jungle parted as a monstrous shape stepped into the clearing. For stories tall, plated in living crystal, its jaws dripping corrosive venom that dissolved the soil. Eric muttered, Okay, that's new. The voice whispered again. The jungle has chosen its champion. The titan roared and charged. Eric sprinted sideways as the creature's claws smashed down, sending shock waves through the earth. He slid under its belly, firing plasma rounds upward. They hit, sizzled, and did nothing. Great, he spat. It's bulletproof. The beast swung its tail. Eric jumped barely. A tree exploded where he'd been standing. His heart pounded, breath rapid, muscles burning. But his smile grew. He lived for this. Eric activated his suit's adrenaline enhancer. His speed doubled. His vision sharpened. His body screamed. Humans weren't designed to take this much force. But Eric wasn't just any human. He was humanity's ultimate response to a universe that wanted them extinct. The Titan lunged again, this time faster. Eric ran straight at it. He jumped, higher than any normal human should, and landed on the creature's crystal spine. Its skin crackled with energy. Eric jammed his blade into a glowing weak point. The Titan shrieked. The obelisk flared. The jungle shook violently. And then, the Titan's crystal plates began to shift, rearranging, transforming, turning into something Eric had only heard rumors of. A sentinel beast. A creature that didn't hunt alone. Eric's smile faded. Oh, hell. More titanic roars answered from deep within the jungle. One roar, then two, then seven, every direction. The jungle wasn't done. It was waking up, and it had chosen him as the prey. Eric tightened his grip on the blade, eyes narrowing at the glowing forest. The first roar shook the leaves. The second roar shattered the treetops. By the seventh, the entire jungle bent like it was bowing to something older and hungrier than time itself. Eric Hale exhaled slowly. Most beings would have run. Most beings couldn't run. Fear would have frozen their bones. But Eric wasn't like them. He tightened his gauntlets, wiped beast blood off his visor, and spoke quietly. Let them come. The sentinel beast beneath him convulsed, crystal plates rearranging into jagged spines. A surge of energy rippled across its body, forcing Eric to leap off before he was flung skyward. The ground cracked open. Vines shot out, thick as steel cables, wrapping around the transforming Titan. The jungle was forging it, upgrading it, weaponizing it. The obelisk pulsed. Human, your kind always runs toward danger. Eric smirked. Running away is boring. Lightning cracked across the sky, forming a web of green fire. The atmosphere itself was reacting to him. The jungle seemed to breathe, harder, deeper, louder. Something ancient had woken because a human stepped foot here, and it wasn't happy. A tremor approached, then footsteps, colossal ones. Boom, boom, boom. From the shadows emerged a second sentinel. Taller, its body shimmering like molten glass. Its face had no eyes, only a smooth mask reflecting Eric's own shocked expression. It roared without a mouth, energy vibrating through the air like a sonic weapon. Eric's ears rang. Blood trickled down his neck. Okay, he groaned. That hurt. Then the third arrived, and the fourth. By the time all seven encircled him, the jungle canopy had turned into a prison of glowing vines above. Eric stood alone in the center. 7 towering monsters. A planet-wide jungle consciously trying to kill him. An ancient obelisk whispering prophecies. And him. A single human hunter. The beasts stepped closer, each step cracking the ground beneath their weight. Eric whispered to himself, I should have packed bigger guns. The obelisk suddenly flared, projecting symbols into the air, ancient glyphs burning with a sinister green hue. Eric didn't recognize the language, but somehow his brain tried to interpret it. Then the voice boomed. The 7 sentinels will test your species. Eric spat blood. You want a test? Fine. Bring it. Fail, and humanity will be erased from the star map forever. Eric froze. Everything went silent. Even the sentinels stopped growling. Wait, he said slowly. What do you mean erased? The obelisk answered with cold finality. The Galactic Archive has decreed it. Eric clenched his fists. Aliens want humanity dead? Again, not aliens. Something older. A gust of icy air tore through the clearing. The sentinels' crystal bodies flickered. like someone else was controlling them from above, pulling invisible strings. A new voice cut through the jungle, smooth, echoing, dangerous. Hunter from Earth. You were never supposed to survive this long. Eric turned sharply, scanning the trees. A figure stepped out, tall, masked, armored in silver and obsidian. Not beast, not plant, not machine. Something else entirely. The figure raised a hand, and all 7 sentinels lowered their heads in obedience. Eric's heart hammered. What the hell are you? The figure's mask split open, revealing a mouth of metallic teeth. Your judge. Then the figure snapped its fingers. 6 sentinels charged at once. Eric dove sideways, energy beams slicing the ground where he'd stood. The shock wave blasted him through a tree. He crashed, rolled, coughed blood, and barely dodged another strike that shattered the earth like glass. He leapt onto a sentinel's back, sprinted across its spine, and vaulted into the air. Mid-jump, he fired 2 plasma shells into another's eye socket. The jungle lit up with fire, but it wasn't enough. One sentinel's tail slammed into him. Eric's ribs cracked. He flew 50 meters and hit a boulder, armor sparking. Pain blurred his vision. His breathing staggered, but he pushed up anyway. Humans always push up. You done, he spat. Because I'm still standing. The masked judge tilted its head. Interesting. Your endurance is unacceptable. Eric raised his blade. I get that a lot. The judge's voice grew colder. Very well. Then we escalate. It raised both arms. Every sentinel roared in unison. Crystal bodies glowing. Shapes shifting. Energy rising. Transforming into their true forms. Eric's eyes widened. Oh, you got to be kidding me. The ground split apart as something even bigger began to emerge beneath the clearing. Something the sentinels were only guardians of. Something the obelisk was terrified of. Cracks tore open across the clearing, vomiting green fire. Roots as thick as starship hulls writhed upward, coiling around each other like colossal serpents. Eric staggered back, breath ragged. This, he whispered, this is bigger than a hunting mission. The masked judge extended both arms. The sentinels bowed as if greeting a god. The obelisk pulsed violently, symbols flashing faster and faster, warning signs Eric couldn't read but instinctively understood. Something should not be waking. Something that remembers humans. The ground split wide. A hollow roar rose from below. Not sound, not air, a vibration that crawled inside Eric's bones. A shape began to emerge, vast, bulbous, covered in spiraling layers of black-green bark fused with metallic flesh. A colossal eye opened on its side, vertical and luminous like a dying star. Then another, and another. 9 eyes, all turning toward the surface. Toward him. Eric's heart slammed against his ribs. That's not a beast. He swallowed hard. That's a planet core organism. The judge's voice boomed out. Behold, human, the Harrow Root Warden, the first ancient that your species once offended. The creature climbed higher, each movement shaking the planet's crust. Thick tendrils extended outward, sucking energy from everything. The sentinels, the trees, even the air. Eric's suit flashed warnings. Radiation spike, fatal level. Temperature rising. Atmosphere corruption detected. He gritted his teeth. Of course, why not? The judge stepped closer. Your species left scars across the stars long before you understood space travel. This warden remembers the first humans it encountered. Eric spat blood. We've never been here before. The judge tilted its head. Not you, not your civilization. The ones before you. Eric froze. What? Earth has died before. The words hit like a hammer. Eric shook his head. No. Impossible. Earth's geological record would. You think planets do not reset? You think civilizations do not vanish without leaving a trace? Eric's breath caught. His mind fought the idea, but some instinct whispered. He's telling the truth. The judge continued. Humans have risen more than once. Each time, the universe erased the evidence. Eric's voice cracked. Why? The judge pointed at him. Because humans always disrupt the cosmic order. The warden roared, a sound that tore apart several trees instantly. Its tendrils punched into the sky, absorbing lightning, turning it into glowing veins across its body. The sentinels circled it like worshippers. Eric steadied himself. His pain intensified, but so did his resolve. "All right," he growled. "Ancient cosmic drama. Cool. But I'm still not dying here." The judge laughed quietly. "You misunderstand. You cannot kill a warden." Eric tightened his grip on his blade. "Didn't say kill." He smirked. "I said I'm not dying." The warden struck. A tendril the size of a starship tower smashed downward. Eric dove, rolling across broken stone as the ground where he'd stood evaporated into dust. He sprinted toward the side, but another tendril whipped horizontally, slicing entire trees in half. Eric slid underneath it, sparks erupting from his armor. He fired 3 plasma bolts. They disappeared into the warden's hide, like raindrops into an ocean. "Okay," he gasped, Plan B. He activated his gravity boots, sprinted up a fallen trunk, and launched himself directly at one of the creature's giant eyes. He slashed downward. The blade connected, and a shock wave blasted him backward. His weapon shattered in his hands. Eric hit the ground and skidded until a root wall stopped him short. Pain exploded through his chest. "That hurt." The judge stepped closer, amused. "Your kind always rushes him blindly. Bravery without comprehension." Eric forced himself up, shaking. "You're wrong." He cracked his neck. Humans learn fast. The judge paused. Eric raised a hand, fingers trembling but steady, and did something no alien had seen a human do. He triggered the overclock core in his chest suit, a forbidden human tech prototype, a microreactor built from unstable star metal, a device only humans were stupid or brilliant, enough to wear near their heart. The jungle brightened. Eric's veins glowed. His eyes burned neon blue. His skin vibrated with barely contained power. The judge took a step back. "That technology is illegal across the galaxy." Eric grinned savagely. "Good thing I'm not from here." He launched himself forward, 10 times faster than before, body screaming, armor cracking, straight toward the warden's central eye. The warden recoiled, vines thrashing violently. The sentinels roared and charged to intercept. Eric didn't slow. He punched through the air, blasting forward, a human missile wrapped in raw energy. And then, something impossible happened. The obelisk exploded with light. A shockwave tore across the jungle, freezing everything mid-motion. Sentinels, vines, even the warden itself. The judge shouted, "No! The prophecy is activating. You cannot." The frozen vines glowed bright white, then cracked, then shattered, and at the center of the explosion, something else appeared. A shape floating behind Eric, human-shaped, glowing, watching. The judge whispered in terror, "No, not again." Eric didn't turn around. He didn't know what was behind him, but whatever it wasn't the jungle. It wasn't alien. It was familiar. The warden began to break free of the stasis field. Eric prepared to strike. And behind him, the glowing figure slowly reached out its hand, touching Eric's shoulder. A surge of blinding power shot through him. Eric screamed, not in pain, but in something else, something awakening. And the entire jungle reacted as if a sun had ignited in its heart. The moment the glowing hand touched Eric's shoulder, the universe tilted. Light flooded his vision, not bright, not blinding, but remembering. Memories that were not his own flashed like lightning in his skull. Cities of stone floating in space. Humans standing before alien gods. A war between species older than galaxies. And a voice, his own voice, yet not his, whispering, "We warned them. We warned everyone." Eric stumbled. He blinked hard, and the glowing figure finally stood clear behind him. A human, tall, armored in living light. Face half visible beneath a shimmering helm. Not alien, not spirit, not illusion. A human from before. From the civilization the judge spoke of, the humans the universe tried to erase. Eric's chest tightened. Who, what are you? The glowing figure stepped closer, voice echoing in layered tones. I am the echo of the first cycle, and you, Eric Hale, are the spark of the fifth. The judge hissed in fury. This is impossible. The first humans were purged from reality. The echo turned slowly toward the masked judge. You purged our monuments. You purged our records. But you never understood humans. The warden thrashed, breaking free from the stasis ring the echo briefly created. The nine-eyed behemoth roared, vines thickening with cosmic energy. The sentinels howled, crystal armor shifting into war forms. The entire jungle prepared to strike. The echo raised a hand. Everything froze. Wind, beasts, tendrils, even the judge, as if existence itself held its breath. Eric stared, disbelief and adrenaline mixing like fire in his veins. How are you doing this? The echo's eyes glowed brighter. Because you awaken me. Eric's voice trembled despite himself. Why me? The echo touched its palm to Eric's overclock core. The device pulsed, not with radiation but with recognition. Because the fifth cycle is reaching the same crossroads as the first. Eric swallowed. And what crossroads is that? The echo leaned in. The point where humanity either rises or gets erased again. The stasis field shuddered. The warden began to force its way free, cracking through energy like bone through glass. The judge shouted. Warden killed them both. Time snapped back into motion. Vines lashed out. Sentinels charged. Energy cannons fired. The jungle erupted into pure chaos. Eric moved, but he wasn't moving alone. The echo moved with him, overlapping his steps, amplifying his strength, guiding his strikes. Human past and human present fought as one. Eric ducked under a warden tendril. The echo spun him into the air. Eric slashed the tendril with energy that wasn't his. A shockwave tore through the clearing. Sentinels staggered. The warden recoiled. Even the judge's armor cracked. Eric landed hard, skidding across glowing roots. His heart thundered. What did you do to me? The echo spoke calmly amidst the carnage. I am restoring what your species lost. Lost what? The echo's voice was solemn. Your inheritance. Before Eric could reply, a tendril the width of a building wrapped around the echo and crushed it. The glowing figure flickered, struggled, dimmed. Eric screamed, and oh! The warden tightened its grip, absorbing the echo's light. The jungle brightened with stolen power. The air burned. The ground split. The judge raised both arms, triumph blazing in its voice. IT is over, human. The first cycle dies with you. Eric's vision blurred with rage. He staggered forward, reaching for the echo. Who? With his fading voice, whispered. Eric, listen. The warden is not your enemy. Eric froze mid-step. What? The echo flickered again, its light almost gone. The true enemy is the one wearing the mask. The judge stiffened. The warden roared. But this roar was different. Not hateful. Warning. The echo pointed weakly at the masked figure. It is not a judge. It is a parasite controlling this world. Free the warden, and this jungle will become your ally. Eric's pulse erupted like thunder. Then tell me, how? The echo's form finally began to collapse. With the last flicker of its light, it whispered, break the mask, and vanished. The mask on the so-called judge cracked. A distorted, inhuman shriek escaped from within. The jungle went silent. Even the warden paused. Eric wiped blood from his mouth, raised his fists, and whispered, Round 3, let's end you. The parasite controlling the judge turned toward him. The mask split open, and a monstrous, impossible shape began crawling out. The mask cracked, then split, then peeled open like rotten metal. What crawled out wasn't shaped like a head, or a face, or anything that belonged in this dimension. It was a ripple, a distortion, a living wrongness, a swirling, shifting cluster of black tendrils made of void light. Not solid, not liquid, not energy, but something that devoured the idea of form itself. Eric stumbled back, instinct screaming. What in the hell? The creature screeched, and the sound bent the air. The The trees warped inward. The ground twisted. Even the warden recoiled violently, vine snapping free of its own roots as if trying to escape the sound. The parasite fully shed the humanoid shell. The judge's armor fell empty to the ground, useless metal. Now the creature hovered above it, a pulsing, writhing sphere of anti-light. The warden's 9 eyes flared in terror. Eric realized something horrifying. The warden wasn't scared of humans. It was scared of this. A tendril of void lashed forward. Eric ducked, the air where his head had been instantly turned into a silent void hole. No explosion. No heat. Just absence. Wonderful, Eric muttered. It erases reality. Fantastic. The parasite twisted toward him, its voice a layered, warped whisper. You should never have been allowed to exist again. Eric raised his fists. Guess what? We're annoyingly persistent. The parasite convulsed. Dozens of void tendrils shot outward in all directions, impaling sentinels instantly. The towering beasts, the unstoppable guardians, froze. Their crystal bodies cracked, then shattered like fragile glass. 7 giants destroyed in seconds. Eric's throat tightened. Oh, that's bad. That's really bad. The warden roared and wrapped several of its colossal roots around a void creature, trying desperately to contain it. The creature didn't even resist. It let the vines touch it. Then the vines rotted into ash. The warden recoiled in agony as chunks of its massive body disintegrated. Eric was the only one left standing. The parasite focused on him again. You are the spark, the 5th cycle's catalyst. We cannot allow this. Eric laughed breathlessly. You killed 7 sentinels, half the jungle, and the planet's root guardian. And you're worried about me? The parasite vibrated. Humans do not understand the threat they pose. Eric spat, then explained. The creature pulsed. Your species is the only one that evolves under stress. Where others break, humans adapt. Eric narrowed his eyes. That's a compliment, right? It is a condemnation. Lightning cracked from a sky with no clouds. The parasite expanded, growing, shifting, forming a larger, more monstrous shape with each heartbeat. The ground caved beneath it. Eric's overclocked core throbbed painfully. His heartbeat synced with the glowing remnant the echo left in him. He whispered, You want me? You come take me. The creature shrieked and lunged. Eric triggered the overclock core. His body ignited with human blue energy. He sprinted forward, ground exploding beneath each step. He wasn't fast enough. A tendril slammed in mid-charge. He flew through 3 massive roots, armor shredding, blood spraying. He hit the ground so hard the soil caved inward. Eric coughed violently, vision blurring. He tasted iron and dust. The parasite floated closer. Submit. Your death will be painless. Eric pushed to his knees. Sorry. He stood, trembling, bleeding. Humans don't do painless. He activated emergency neural override. Pain vanished. Adrenaline surged. His muscles burned with raw power. He looked a monster in its void face and charged. The parasite lunged back. They collided. A burst of shockwaves. Trees ripped from the roots. Air shattered. The ground cratered. Eric's punch met the void. For a fraction of a millisecond, the creature flickered in surprise. Humans weren't supposed to touch it, weren't supposed to survive it, weren't supposed to resist it. Eric grinned savagely. Surprise? He slammed another punch, and another, each one burning his flesh, ripping his bones, cracking his armor. But he didn't stop. He couldn't stop, because behind the parasite, the warden struggled to rise. And the warden whispered, its voice deep, ancient, trembling. Human, break its core, and I will save you. Eric gasped. Where's the core? The warden pointed one massive vine. Eric looked and saw a tiny flicker in the center of the parasite's mass. A small, pulsing dot, barely visible, barely real, but glowing. Eric wiped blood from his eyes. One shot, huh? Fine. He crouched low, overclock core surging, muscles screaming, energy crackling. He lunged upward, straight toward the parasite center. But the creature reacted instantly. All void tendrils whipped around, forming a black shield that shrieked with cosmic hatred. Eric slammed into it. The shield held, crushing him, tearing his armor, breaking his ribs. The parasite whispered, "You cannot reach my core, human." Eric's voice came out fractured. "Watch me." He forced the overclock core to 130%. His body began to burn him from the inside. The echo's lingering power flared behind his eyes. The warden raised its remaining vines in desperation. The parasite shrieked. Everything in the clearing vibrated madly. Eric gave one last scream and punched through the shield, reaching his hand toward the pulsing core, just as a new voice echoed from the jungle. "Eric, stop." Eric froze, because the voice wasn't alien, wasn't the echo. It was a human voice, female, terrified. A figure stumbled from the burning tree-line, a human woman in torn explorer armor. Eric's heart nearly tore itself apart at the sight. "Lyra?" Her eyes widened. "Eric, it's a trap. Don't touch the core." But it was too late. Eric's fingertips brushed the parasite's core. The world inverted. Reality screamed. And everything went white. The jungle was quiet. For the first time since Aiden Locke had crashed on vorexis 9, the endless chorus of predatory whispers had gone silent. No growls, no chittering, no rustling, no breathing from the canopy 20 meters above. Even the thick violet fog that usually pulsed like a living organism hung unmoving, suspended in an unnatural stillness. Aiden stood at the edge of the clearing, shaking, bleeding, bruised, burned, but alive. Barely alive. The last hours had pushed even and beyond the limits he believed a human could endure. The encounter with the Leviathan shade had left one arm nearly useless, and his ribs screamed every time he inhaled. But the mission was complete. The impossible had been done. The jungle, the galaxy's most dangerous ecosystem, had witnessed him survive what even the ancients could not. And now, the jungle watched him with something like respect. Behind him, Zyrene limped forward, one hand pressed against her lower abdomen where the crystalline shards of the shade's final death spasm had pierced her armor. "Human," she whispered, breath trembling, "you should sit. Your blood pressure is dropping." "I'll sit when we're out of this clearing," Aiden said. "Still feels like something's watching." Zyrene allowed a small, ragged laugh. Everything on this planet always watches. But she followed him, keeping pace despite her injury. The two stopped at the center of the clearing where Aiden had planted the emergency beacon. The device, human-made, compact, durable, flashed its blue-white pulse into the sky, cutting to the thick canopy with a rhythmic certainty. "Rescue will arrive in 2 hours," Zyrene said, "if the signal is not disrupted." "It won't be," Aiden answered. She tilted her head. "This jungle has disrupted every other signal sent before." Aiden crouched, fingers brushing over the beacon's casing. "Yeah," he said softly, "but those beacons weren't mine." Zyrene stared at him for a long moment, her mandible plates shifting in a way only her species exhibited, an expression that could mean confusion, admiration, annoyance, or all three. "You humans," she said, sitting down with a pained grunt. "You truly believe you can force reality to obey?" "No," Aiden replied, finally allowing himself to lower onto a broken log. "I believe reality gets confused when it meets a human." A faint smile touched her features, alien sharp but real. A gust of warm wind rolled across the clearing. Aiden stiffened. Zyrene's spines flared, but it wasn't danger. Not this time. The jungle was breathing again. The thick vines shifted, retracting their thorns. The ground, always pulsing with unseen life, softened beneath their boots. Even the trees, massive, ancient, towering like sleeping titans, seemed to lower their branches, as if bowing. Aiden swallowed hard. "You feel it too, right?" he asked quietly. "Yes," Zyrene whispered. "It is acknowledging you. I've never seen the jungle behave this way." Aiden didn't answer. He felt the weight of the jungle's silent gaze settle over him. It wasn't hostility. Not anymore. It felt almost grateful. Because he killed the shade, he thought. Or maybe because he survived. A soft rustle came from behind. A small creature, no bigger than a cat, its metallic feathers reflecting shifting colors, approached the clearing's edge. It chirped 3 times, its neck feathers puffing before it scurried away. Then another creature. Then another. Dozens. None of them attacked. They gathered at the perimeter, sitting in eerie stillness, forming a ring around Aiden and Zyrene. Predators. Prey. Night stalkers. Winged serpents. Creatures from legends and nightmares. A gathering of beasts from every deadly tier of the jungle. Even injured, even exhausted, Aiden's instincts kicked in. "Zyrene," he murmured, not taking his eyes off the semicircle of creatures. "If this goes bad." "It will not," she cut in. "Not anymore." "How can you be sure?" She shook her head. "Because the jungle does not bow twice." Aiden didn't know what that meant, but he held still, breath shallow. Then a tremor, soft at first, like the heartbeat of the world beneath them. The creatures lowered themselves to the ground. The trees bent. Even the fog parted, swirling into spirals and dissolving upward. Aiden felt something rise from below, an immense presence, ancient, patient. A final whisper of the jungle's voice. Not in words, not in sound, in feeling, acknowledgement, recognition, respect. The presence receded as quietly as it had appeared. The fog settled. The light dimmed. The creatures dispersed, one by one, returning to their territories without a sound. The jungle returned to life, and Aiden felt strangely at peace. He exhaled. Zyrene rested her head against the bark behind her, eyelids fluttering. "You did more than survive," she said softly. "You changed this place. You changed me." Aiden gave her a tired smile. "Just doing what humans do, I guess." She blinked slowly. "And what is that?" Aiden leaned his head back, staring up at the sky through the narrow canopy gap carved by the beacon's light. "We show the universe what we're made of." There was a silence between them, not uncomfortable, not strained, just quiet. "You should rest," Zyrene said. "Your body needs it." "Can't," Aiden replied, though exhaustion pulled at every fiber of him. "If I close my eyes, I'll pass out for 12 hours. Need to be awake when the ship arrives." She tilted her head. "Why?" Aiden smirked. "Because I don't trust anyone else to land a shuttle in this hellhole." Zyrene gave a soft, amused hiss. "Humans and their arrogance." Aiden shrugged. "Keeps us alive." And somehow, even without looking, he could sense her smile. Minutes passed, maybe an hour. Time blurred. The pain dulled into a distant throb. The sky above shifted colors as vorexis 9's twin suns dipped lower. Aiden's vision swam for a moment, but he forced himself to stay upright. "You should sleep," Zyrene repeated, her voice weakening. "You first," he replied. She didn't argue this time. Her eyes closed slowly, breathing settling into a soft rhythm. Aiden sat beside her, palms pressed into the dirt, feeling the faint heartbeat of the jungle beneath his fingers. The air was warm, heavy, but peaceful, strange. He'd never imagined peace here.